You won't believe Pastor Gino Jennings' recent ordeal. Everyone was talking about a pastor bringing a gun into a church, which seemed unbelievable, but the rumors started to spread quickly. It all began when Jennings showed up at a highly anticipated church event. His followers had gathered in large numbers to hear him speak, but things didn't go as planned the moment he stepped inside something. The man was known for his fearless preaching and strong words. Church officials were drawn to something strange when they saw a bulge under his coat. Stod under his coat. Some speculated that it might have been a gun, while others assumed it was a harmless error. However, before anyone could determine the true nature of the situation, church security intervened, and the atmosphere inside the church abruptly changed. People who had come to hear the word of God were now witnessing something they never expected. As security officers drew closer to Jennings, tension began to rise as the crowd's whispers became more audible. A well-respected pastor was standing in their church, and now he was being accused of bringing a firearm into a place of worship. Some believed it was a misunderstanding, while others feared that something serious was about to happen. The question on everyone's mind was simply why Jennings was thinking this before the church leaders could decide what to do. When the chief of security approached Jennings and asked him the crucial question, "Are you carrying a weapon?" Oh. The hush in some people held their breath waiting for Jennings' response, but he didn't back down. Instead, he stood his ground, looked straight at the security team, and defended himself, telling them that pastors needed to protect themselves in the modern world because of recent violent attacks in churches that targeted religious leaders. He made it clear that he wouldn't become a victim, but the church leaders didn't see it that way, because they thought a church should be a place of worship in addition to being a place for things swiftly got out of hand. All those. And within minutes, a startling decision was made. Jennings was expelled from the church. The news went viral on social media, with some people supporting him and arguing that he had the right to defend himself, while others felt that he had gone too far. Some protested by leaving, stating that they supported Jennings, while others remained unable to believe that a pastor would ever carry a firearm into a place of worship. The internet was ablaze with discussion about this. Footage from the controversy had barely just begun, and what transpired next escalated things to a completely new level. Church began to circulate, and soon after, every major news outlet picked up the story. The biggest question now was Gino Jennings wrong, or was he simply being singled out for defending himself? Immediately following the event, Gino Jennings came to the pulpit on his own initiative. After being expelled from the church, Jennings did what he does best. He spoke up. However, this time, his remarks weren't just strong, they were explosive. Church and gave a sermon that made everyone tremble. His voice echoed through the sanctuary as he faced the camera and spoke to his detractors. Quote, "They attempted to silence me and make me look foolish. But let me clarify that no man determines when or where I spread the gospel." The congregation erupted in applause, but this was only the beginning. Jennings didn't mince words when he criticized church officials, calling them hypocrites. Pastors of large churches have armed security personnel stationed at there. He pointed out a harsh reality. Pastors have been the target of multiple tragic show shootings inside churches in recent years. He claimed he wasn't just carrying a weapon for himself, but also to protect his congregation. To protect his congregation. His supporters were incensed and social media comments poured in. "Doors, they carry guns, and they have bodyguards. But when I take steps to protect myself, suddenly it's a problem. They are attempting to bring him down because he is a real guy." But Pastor Jennings is correct that the church needs protection in these perilous times. Of God, but there was opposition from the church community. While Jennings' supporters supported him, many church officials did not agree, and well-known pastors and religious leaders came out against his behavior. In a statement, Bishop Charles Watson of Greater Faith Ministries said, "We do not condone bringing weapons into a house of worship under any circumstances. The church is a place of peace, not violence." If you don't believe that God would protect you, Pastor Reverend Martin Collins went one step farther. "You're preaching that a man of God doesn't need a gun, but why?" A former church insider came forward with a shocking confession, just as the controversy seemed to have reached its zenith. The secret revealed, an insider speaks out. Elder Morris Caldwell, a former high-ranking member of Jennings Church, made shocking claims in a viral interview. Many people demanded that Jennings be held accountable, and some even questioned whether his church should face legal repercussions for permitting him to carry a weapon inside. Caldwell disclosed something that further shocked the situation. Pastor Jennings has always supported pastors carrying guns. But wait, what Caldwell said next. Jennings had been advising church leaders for years that they should carry guns for protection, telling us that we must be ready because the world is becoming more dangerous, and that a shepherd must protect his flock at all costs. Additionally, Caldwell said that other church authorities were aware of the Christian community was rocked by this revelation, and many who had supported Jennings were now wondering if he was a man merely trying to protect himself, or if he had been hiding this all along. Of course, Jennings didn't remain silent, and in the final showdown following the shocking revelations from Elder Morris Caldwell, all eyes were on Gino Jennings. They knew this, but they chose to ignore it as long as he continued to draw large crowds and large sums of money. Sums of money. The crowd roared in support, and Pastor Jennings didn't back down. They said, "I should trust in God for protection, which I do." But even the disciples carried swords, including Nehemiah. If you know Pastor Jennings, you already know the answer. Standing in front of a packed congregation, Jennings stared straight into the camera and gave a sermon that would go down in history. "The enemy is working overtime to discredit me, but I fear no man. I only answer to God." Armed as warriors during the rebuilding of Jerusalem's walls, so don't tell me what a true man of God ought to do. His statements ignited social media because he was stating the truth. The Bible is in favor of self-defense. I admire Jennings because he is so brave that they can't cancel him. He is steadfast in his convictions, but while his followers were fervent, his detractors were more resolute than ever. The court struggle will see Jennings face charges, and police enforcement is now intervening on his behalf. Started looking into whether Jennings had broken any state laws by bringing a gun into a house of religion. Legal professionals considered this, saying that, although some states permit it, others have strong prohibitions against carrying guns in places of worship. Could Jennings be charged? Legal experts James Holloway said that even if Jennings had a license, he may face severe legal repercussions if he carried without the required permissions. Certain states have stringent regulations regarding care in churches, and Jennings might be fined if found guilty. Jennings was threatened with having his firearms license suspended or maybe going to jail, but instead of displaying fear, he addressed the legal threats in his next sermon. The congregation exploded in applause, and Jennings even alluded to pursuing legal action of his own against those attempting to silence him. "Hey, do whatever you want. You think I'm afraid of your laws. I only fear the laws of God." Decisive confrontation. What comes next? What comes next? The debate is still going strong, but one thing is certain. Gino Jennings is not going to back down. Will he be arrested? There's little doubt that this tale is far from done. Do you believe Pastor Jennings has the right to stand his position, or is he entirely wrong? Was he entirely wrong? Will the church community turn against him, or will he emerge stronger than before? Please share your ideas in the comments section, and remember to like for more astounding updates on this and other important news. Subscribe.